Chapter 531, Both of you are too outstanding. Wrong, I am a warm-blooded animal. So there was no need for hibernation. Okay, from the looks of it, you seem to have had a good talk with your dad. You should know that you can't do anything about it, so stop dwelling over it. Xiao Nan, you are a strange person. How am I strange? I couldn't stop pondering about my dad's resignation, yet you could accept it right away. Bystander is always clear-minded. She was not strange. No, that's not what I mean. Don't you think that your attitude regarding this matter is too mature? Xiao Nan paused momentarily and was slightly nervous. When you came asking me for help, you were already without reasons. If I were irrational as well, the two of us would only create more trouble for your dad. Daughters should be more sensible and caring. You should at least do that for your dad. Go ahead and cook up stories. Shi Qing snorted, not taken in by Xiao Nan. I finally understand why Brother Zai likes you so much. That's because both of you are too outstanding, abnormal. Qiu Chenexai's tactics and plot seemed so foolish and childish in front of both of you. Do you know why I like to stay in the army and why did I have such good results? Shi Qing had given up. Her father was right. It was true that she was not as good as Xiao Nan. Why? Because of Brother Zai. I have fallen for Brother Zai the first time I saw him. In order to show off to me that she would marry a man who is very outstanding in the future, Qiu Chenexai always told me about how outstanding Brother Zai is. He always ranked first in the exams and is very athletic. Though he is young, his fitness level is better than that of the special force in the army. He does not rely on his family. He has the ability and skills. Do you know why Brother Zai was willing to send me to school amidst his busy schedule last time? Actually, Brother Zai is too young to be the regiment commander, but my dad pushed for it. My dad said that Brother Zai deserved it. It's just that those people who were against Chief Zai tried to prevent him from being promoted and insisted that he's too young to take on the position. Of course, Shi Peng pushed for it in the end, and that was why Zai Shen became the regiment commander at such a young age. As Shi Qing had said, Zai Shen had the capability to be the regiment commander, but without Shi Peng's help, he would only be promoted a few years later. Zai Shen owed Shi Peng a big favor. Qiu Chenexai did not expect that she has brought disaster upon herself. Because of Qiu Chenexai, Shi Qing had fallen head over heels in love with Brother Zai. She would use Brother Zai as her benchmark and would discipline herself to be as good as him in everything she did. Xiao Nan remembered that Qiu Chenexai wanted to learn from Lin Yuankong back then. It seemed to be for similar reasons as well. Xiao Nan felt ashamed at that. She had to admit that before she was in a relationship with Brother Zai, she had wanted to carve out a good future for herself. Now that she was with Brother Zai, her pressure was indeed greater and she wanted more so than ever to become a better person. Men indeed did people great harm. She did it deliberately, Shi Qing said coldly. It is understandable that I fall for Brother Zai. He is so outstanding. It is rare for girls not to like him. Qiu Chenexai knew that I liked Brother Zai as well. But the person who could marry him in the future is her, not me, so she deliberately told me everything about Brother Zai. When I went back, Qiu Chenexai would talk to me on the phone frequently to update me about Brother Zai. She would tell me about his results and his achievements in the army. She would even let me know when her family went to the Zai family residence for meals. Qiu Chenexai had evil intentions. Oh my God! Xiao Nan was speechless. Qiu Chenexai was perverted. Brother Zai and you are the same type of person. Since he likes you, I will admit defeat. There is plenty of other fish in the sea. If the person doesn't like me, he is not the one for me. It's okay if he doesn't like me. I will find someone who likes me. It's as simple as that. Shi Qing said sourly. One could not show others their weakness. She must show that she had the guts and determination. Yes, Find someone who likes you. Those who don't like you should stand aside. Xiao Nan agreed. You. It's right of me to say that you are annoying. Must you be so smug? Must you show off in front of me? I know that it's Brother Zai who confessed his love to you and developed feelings for you first, but do you have to agitate me in such a way? Shi Qing was upset. She was trying to comfort herself, yet Xiao Nan was bent on provoking her. Xiao Nan had an innocent look on her face. I didn't say anything at all. Shi Qing lifted her chin proudly. I can tell. Brother Zai and you are miles apart in terms of social status. You are not the kind of person who is vain. No matter how outstanding Brother Zai is, even if you like him, you will not dare to be close to him. Therefore, it must be Brother Zai who took the initiative. Fine, you are a genius. Shi Qing's analysis was indeed accurate. There was no way that she could rebut. By the way, what are you doing here? Are you giving lessons to the soldiers as well? Of course not. I do not have time for that. Shi Qing lazed around at Xiao Nan's place, refusing to leave. My dad is in the army, and he is recently discharged from the hospital. As his daughter, can't I check on him? Besides, according to her father, Xiao Nan was at the army to give lessons and Xiu Chenexai was creating trouble for her. It was such a good show. How could she miss it? Isn't your dad leaving? Xiao Nan did not go easy on Shi Qing. She knew that Shi Qing was upset about her father's resignation, hence she deliberately mentioned it. They were bent on digging at each other. It's not so simple. My dad is also a talent and he holds an important position in the army. Besides, he has helped promote talents like Brother Zai. Even if he really decided to quit and has submitted his resignation letter, it will take some time before it will be finalized. You are too ignorant. Shi Qing gritted her teeth. Her father had happily told her that she had made a true friend, but she thought otherwise. A good friend would not dig at her friend. Oh, so you intend to leave with your dad? You might be the one who leaves first. Fine, you must send me off by then. It was indeed a child's play to deal with Shi Qing. Hey, you're so sweaty. Get up. Don't rest on my bed. I see. So this bed is yours. No wonder it looks so pleasing to the eye. I am tired and sleepy. You seem to have had a good night's sleep. Don't bother me. You should do your homework while I sleep. Shi Qing took off her military cap and covered her face with it. She fell into a deep slumber right away. It seemed that Shi Pen was bent on leaving the army. Chapter 532, Don't be unconvinced. After having her meal and a chat with Shi Pen, Shi Qing was in a slightly better mood. It was summer and she had been through so much in the morning. Shi Qing felt tired to the bone. She stayed by Xiao Nan's side and stared at her profile while she concentrated on her homework. Shi Qing realized that she had calmed down miraculously and was no longer as agitated as before. Shi Qing only intended to take a short nap, but by the time she woke up, it was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's so late. Yes, did you have a good sleep? Xiao Nan had already completed most of her tasks for the day. She held a cup of warm tea and was admiring the scenery outside. Why didn't you wake me up? She had never taken such a long nap before. She had thought that she only slept for half an hour. Since you were in a deep sleep, why should I wake you up? This is not the school. You don't have any classes. Xiao Nan turned to look at her. Do you feel better now? If so, go back to your father's side and take good care of him. No, though Shi Qing had woken up, she continued to laze around on Xiao Nan's bed and refused to leave. Don't you have an empty bed here? That's just nice. I have no place to stay. I won't ask for much. I will share a room with you. Aren't you worried about your dad? Xiao Nan raised her eyebrows. Who was the one who came running with red eyes to my place? She thought that Qiqing wanted to find a place where she could get away from her father for the time being. It seemed like after a nap, she was no longer worried about her father. "Didn't you say that my dad must have thought it through? My dad is an adult. I do not have to be worried. I believe in my dad, so I will support his decision." Qiqing, who was emotionally unstable in the morning, was much calmer now. When someone was emotionally unstable, there was no way that others could talk sense into them. No matter how Jiaonan persuaded Qiqing, she refused to go back to accompany Xipeng. "Fine, you are the boss, you have the final say." This was not her house. She could not dictate where Qiqing lived in. "But you should know that your father is sick. Aren't you scared at all? Can you stay at my place without checking on him?" "Scared? If so, I would be by his side 24 hours a day." "All right, there's no way that you can get me to leave. My dad may not be as healthy, but he is not as weak as you think. Don't worry. My dad still has many years ahead. As long as he did not overwork himself, he would recover." It was also for this reason that Qiqing sorted out her thoughts. Perhaps it was a good idea for her father to leave the army. In life, the hand that gave gathered. Though she did not feel that her father would give up on the army just so that he could live for a few more years, he must have his reasons that she did not know for doing this. Since her father would be in better health after leaving the army, she should be happy for him. Oh! After listening to Xipeng's condition, Jiaonan finally understood why Qiqing behaved in such a manner. Officer Shi's health was not as serious as she had imagined. "I heard that you lost terribly during class yesterday. There were only a few people who went to your class. Today, I will go to your class to support you." Qiqing smiled at Jiaonan. She knew what she should do. Jiaonan rolled her eyes. "No need for that. I don't dare to teach you, and I don't have the capability to teach you. But if you really want to help, why don't you teach the lesson tonight and let me take a day off?" "I won't do it. I may be good in my studies, but I don't know how to teach others." Qiqing's grades were good. When she was in Modu, people would ask her grandparents to let her tutor their grandchildren. In the beginning, Qiqing agreed to help as she felt that in order to be worthy of Zai Sheng, she had to be friendly and approachable to others. However, she was exasperated from tutoring them. The questions were simple and the textbooks had clear solutions to it, and she had taught them multiple times, yet the children were not able to understand. It was much more difficult to teach others than to learn it herself. Qiqing would rather finish one more assessment book than to tutor the children. Qiqing was not able to teach the students through those individual private lessons, let alone handling one big class on her own. She did not have the ability, and she might be too angry that she would lose her temper at the soldiers. They might cry from being scolded by her. All of the children she had taught in the past ended up in tears when they left her house. "Are you sure you're simply different from others?" Why did she feel that Qiqing was worse than that? "Jiaonan, you should have heard of my fighting prowess from Zhu Baoqiu. Don't make me use force against you. You are not my opponent." Qiqing clenched her fists. Jiaonan was amused. "Seems like I am unable to vindicate myself against an unreasonable opponent." "Yes, what do you intend to do?" Qiqing said bluntly. "All right, you are the boss and are good with the fists. I can't afford to offend you. I will not go against you." Jiaonan curled the corners of her lips. "I believe that you are indeed relatives with Qiu Jinexai." Crap. She was totally different from Qiu Jinexai. They were not like relatives at all. "All right, I won't tease you anymore. It's time for dinner. After lunch, you slept at my place for 2 hours and now it's about time for dinner. Aren't you ashamed? This was such a lazy lifestyle. Aren't you here to train?" Zhu Baoqiu had said that Qiqing was very athletic and that those average soldiers were not her opponent. Zhu Baokyo's words had piqued Jiaonan's curiosity. She was interested to know how mighty Xiqing was. Training? Unless I get to participate in special force training, forget it. I grew up in the army camp. Don't underestimate me. At the very least, the baby boy from the Zhu family is not my opponent. Believe it or not, even if I give him an advantage, I can still defeat him. I feel so sorry for him that as a man, he is so weak. Xiqing was full of disdain at the mention of Zhu Baokyo. Even if she could not be with Brother's Eye, she wanted to look for someone who liked her and was stronger than her. He must be able to defeat her. For people as weak as Zhu Baokyo, he would be the first to be kicked away by her. Don't be too happy. I am not favoring boys over girls, but in terms of physical strength, men do have a natural advantage over women. Zhu Baokyo has been idling around for the past few years. It was only the recent 2 years that he bucked up and worked hard. Given your lazy attitude, it won't take years for Zhu Baokyo to surpass you. Jiaonan was not cracking wise. Although Xiqing might be unconvinced, she was telling the truth. Chapter 533, Second Round of PK. More than a month ago, after Zhu Baokyo was defeated by Xiqing, he had made up his mind to hone his skills. Zhu Baokyo may be weak but he has abilities. You may look down on him, but that is because you haven't seen how he was like 2 years ago. Back then, if you have seen him, you probably wouldn't be willing to cast him another glance, let alone spar with him. Xiqing was arrogant. For those whom she despised, she would not bother herself to talk to them or waste her time on them. To put it bluntly, since Xiqing was willing to use her fists on Zhu Baokyo at school, Xiqing did not really dislike Zhu Baokyo. If she found him to be an eyesore, she would not have mentioned him more than once to Jiaonan. She would have already forgotten about him after punching him. All right, don't mention him again. I have a headache. Her father would always say the same words to her. Whenever she defeated others, Xipen would lecture her, but Xiqing never took him seriously. However, now that Jiaonan mentioned it, Xiqing felt uneasy. Jiaonan was right. She could not relax just because she was good enough. If there was a day she lost to her defeated opponent, it would be such an embarrassment. Her father would laugh at her for years. All right, I will participate in the training from tomorrow onward. I will train while you go to class. We will have each other's company. Wow, you are so cool. Then, are you putting the matter regarding your dad's resignation aside? Jiaonan looked at Xiqing, feeling puzzled. Xiqing was no longer upset about it. Don't you want to know why your dad wants to leave the army? Stop confusing me. Xiqing refused to be fooled. I want to know, but my dad refused to tell me, so I won't probe. Didn't you say that every family has its hardships? If it's something I should know, my dad will definitely tell me. Given his condition now, all I can do is to behave myself such that he will not have to worry about me. You are finally acting like a sensible and caring daughter. I am a sensible daughter. I don't need to act like one. During the nighttime, Xiqing went around to survey the 2 classrooms as if she was the leader making the inspection. The equipment in the 2 classrooms is similar. Your classroom is pretty good. The equipment is almost the same. Was there any equipment in the first place? She did not see any, though. Could she be referring to the microphone on the stage? We are classmates, but you mustn't be nervous. I am only here to support you. If your lesson is not as well, I won't tell others. I believe that no matter how badly you perform, you are definitely better than Qiujianxi. Let's not compare it to the famous teachers. It's good enough to beat Qiujianxi. Xiqing, who's your sister? Qiujianxi, who was here to prepare for her class, overheard what Xiqing said. Sister? Don't mention that word in front of me. I would rather not have a sister like you. It's better if we're not related. Her father might have planned to leave the army, but without Chiu Chenexai, he would not have made the decision at this moment. She and her father were devastated, while her relative, Chiu Chenexai, only cared about herself. On the contrary, Xiao Nan, who was an outsider, was considerate and thoughtful. She made sure that they did not go hungry. Shi Qing was clear about one thing. Her so-called relatives were a hindrance to them at a critical time. On the contrary, as an outsider, Xiao Nan showered them with concern. Shi Qing knew clearly who to love and who to hate. In the past, she had never liked Chiu Chenexai. Now, she only had disgust for her. Qing Qing, don't be too much. If you continue to be like this, I will tell Grandpa and Grandma. If you have the ability, you can go ahead to do so. Shi Qing sneered. Don't forget that I am no longer the 5-year-old Shi Qing. I won't faint from running a few laps just because you complained about me and Grandpa punishes me to run. Her grandpa might be angry, but he only meted punishments so that she would learn from her mistakes. He would not use any excessive corporal punishment. At most, he would make her run a few laps and do push-ups. These punishments were easy tasks for her. So, do you want me to get a phone for you? I am your sister. I won't be angry with you. However, I will bear in mind what happened today. Chiu Chenexai was furious, but she did not know what to do with Shi Qing. If her grandparents were here, she could make use of their love for her to make them punish Shi Qing. As they were not in the army camp, Chiu Chenexai was helpless. Her grandparents would side with her occasionally, but not in Shi Peng's case. He was very clear that one was his daughter while the other was only his niece. He would only be partial to his daughter and would not side with Chiu Chenexai. Fine, Shi Qing said coolly. You're not the only one who will keep records. I will keep a record too. Chiu Chenexai, I will make it clear to you today. You'd better not ask me for any favor in the future. Otherwise, I will make sure that you are embarrassed thoroughly. Shi Qing was too young to hide her emotions, especially when she saw Chiu Chenexai, the chief culprit. Fine, I will be waiting for that day. Chiu Chenexai had a look of disdain on her face. Her uncle's position in the army was not as high as Uncle Zai. Sooner or later, Brother Zai would take over Uncle Zai's position. By then, she would be the wife of the chief and would have no need to ask for any favor from the Shi family. Instead, it would be the Shi family who sought help from her. Besides, if her uncle was not lying to her, that meant he had the intention to resign from the army. Once he left the army, the Shi family would no longer have any support. The Shi family had nothing to themselves, so how could she possibly ask them for help? It was nighttime. Shi Qing should not be daydreaming. Shi Qing raised her fist, wanting to give Chiu Chenexai a taste of her fist just like what she did to Zhu Baokyo. I never understand why my grandparents doted on her. Why would they punish me for her sake? Look at the way she behaves. All right, someone is coming. Xiao Nan pulled at Shi Qing, trying to calm her down. Dirty linen should not be aired in public. Shi Qing could not possibly quarrel and fight with Chiu Chenexai in the army camp. However, after what Shi Qing said, Xiao Nan felt that there was something strange with the Shi family. Even if Shi Qing's grandparents gave up Qi Minlin for adoption and felt guilty toward her, their behavior shouldn't have gone way overboard. It was odd that they treated Qi Minlin better than their son and doted on their maternal granddaughter instead of their paternal granddaughter. Teacher Xiao Jiao. Teacher Xiao Jiao. Hello. Xiao Nan nodded with a smile as the students streamed into the classroom. Xiao Nan was not the only one greeted by her students. Qianyanyan also stood next to Chiu Chenexai, getting ready to welcome the horde of students into their classroom. Chapter 534, Hamper Students' Progress. Qianyanyan was extremely excited when the people that she would not have the chance to meet in her army life walked into the classroom. She pulled at Chiu Chenexai's clothes and said, "Look, Chiuchenexai, all of them are here. Today, she was a teaching assistant. From today onward, her status in the army would be different. Chiuchenexai pulled at her clothes unhappily. Enough. Calm down. I am the one who will conduct the class, not you. What are you so excited about? If you are seen by others, they will laugh at you. She was indeed someone who had not been to big occasions. She was just like a country bumpkin. Take what happened recently for instance. When she was in college and joined the student union, becoming one of the union head, she was not as excited as Qianyanyan during the meeting. Chiuchenexai could not help but feel upset at the sight of the ungracious Qianyanyan. Qiaonan came from a similar background as Qianyanyan, yet why was it that she was so difficult to deal with? It was useless to give her money or buy her over by giving her benefits. If Qiaonan was as short-sighted as Qianyanyan, she would have already found out about the vixen who snatched Brother's eye away from her. Qianyanyan tidied her clothes. You are right. I must calm down. If she acted overly excited like a country bumpkin, it would be too disgraceful. Thinking of Chiuchenexai's usual attitude toward her, Qianyanyan cleared her throat, lifted her chin, and straightened her back, trying to look elegant and graceful. Qianyanyan majored in dancing. She looked somewhat like Chiuchenexai with her dignified posture. Chiuchenexai turned black with anger when she realized that Qianyanyan was imitating her. She was not the least happy or proud. If not for those people who had already entered the classroom, Chiuchenexai would definitely change her mind and make do without Qianyanyan as her dispensable assistant, lest she became too proud and thought too highly of herself. However, compared with her behavior previously, Chiuchenexai preferred the way she behaved now. Anyway, this would be the first and only time. She would tolerate her once. The political commissar had already known about the issue regarding the lesson plans. If she had to leave the army and there was no room for discussion, it would be Qianyanyan's turn to be worried as soon as she left the army. If not for Qianyanyan helping her, she would not have landed her hand easily on Qiaonan's lesson plans. At the thought of that, Chiuchenexai glared at Qianyanyan angrily. If Qianyanyan did not discover that Qiaonan was preparing for her lessons and told her about it, she would not know that Qiaonan had prepared lesson plans. Moreover, it was Qianyanyan who took the initiative to say that she could get the notebook for her. Otherwise, she would never get Qiaonan's notebook that was only worth 50 cents. Chiuchenexai, do you feel that the people who came to the classroom today seem to be much fewer than yesterday? Qianyanyan, who had been staring at the entrance to the classroom, had no idea what was going through Chiuchenexai's mind. What she knew was that nobody seemed to be coming into the classroom anymore. Compared with yesterday's situation, the people who attended the class today seemed to decrease by 1/3. Chiuchenexai came back to her senses and looked around the classroom. The people who attended her class were indeed much fewer than yesterday. Chiuchenexai checked the time. It was close to 8 o'clock. Given how punctual soldiers were, it was impossible for them to join the class at this time. Chiuchenexai, did those people go to the classroom next door? Qianyanyan was depressed. She had just gotten the role of a teaching assistant, yet the number of people who turned up was fewer than yesterday. It was such a pity. She should have thought of being a teaching assistant yesterday. But it doesn't matter. Don't be discouraged. If I am not mistaken, the number of people in our class is still higher than the number of people next door, so we are the winner. We did not lose. I know. Chiuchenexai took a deep breath. Qiaonan shamelessly took so many students away from her. Even if more soldiers came to her class than to Qiaonan's class and that she did not lose to Qiaonan, Chiuchenexai felt that it did not look good on her. Chiuchenexai, what methods do you think the high school student used to get your students? Chiuchenexai, in fact, I think the problem still lies with you. I have already said that you should wear that pair of pants and put on some makeup. If you walked around the army like what you did yesterday, there would certainly be more students today. It was without a doubt that men were naturally drawn to beautiful women. Chiu Chenexai shot a disdainful look at Jianyanyan. Enough. Stop coming up with such lousy ideas. What happened yesterday was already very embarrassing. Chiu Chenexai was getting ready to start her lesson at 8 o'clock. Like Chiu Chenexai, Xiaonan had no wish to waste everyone's time and began her lesson as well. Xiaonan's teaching principle was simple. It was to explain in simple language. Her lessons must be simple and easy to understand such that the soldiers would find it easy to comprehend and commit them to memory. As for the profound theories, Xiaonan felt that it was not necessary to teach these to the soldiers. For today's lesson, Xiaonan went on to elaborate what she taught them yesterday. She taught them how to ask for and give directions through the use of where and how. However, she did not teach them ordinal numbers like first and second. Shi Qing could not help but frown at Xiaonan's non-standard teaching method. Was it okay for Xiaonan to teach in such a manner? Would she be hampering the students' progress? Shi Qing, who had been through the traditional teaching model, looked at the expressions of the people around her. Apart from her, the others were absorbed in the lesson and paid full attention to it. Shi Qing was speechless. These people had not been to school indeed. Xiaonan was able to fool these people with her way of teaching. If the English teachers at school knew that Xiaonan used such methods to teach them, they might be exasperated at her. She did not expect that the top student who scored full marks in English was lousy at teaching English to others. Her teaching method was messy and without any structure. Shi Qing waited until the lesson was over before looking for Xiaonan. Xiaonan, is it okay to teach in such a manner? What if something crops up and the army wants you to answer for it? The political commissar has posed the same question to me. You should have realized that I didn't teach alphabet and pronunciation. I also didn't ask them to memorize any words. They only learned some simple and basic conversation. I suppose my intention is very clear. Xiaonan packed her teaching materials. Don't worry. It's fine. Are you still worried? Xiaonan was amused. Why would Shi Qing be worried for others? In fact, if Shi Qing was wicked enough and was close to Chiu Chenexai, she should be happy that her teaching method was flawed. Why should she care so much about her? Nonsense. She wondered why Xiaonan was able to laugh at this time. All right, since you care so much about me, then come with me to a place. Chapter 535, Could Understand Each Other. Today was the third lesson. The leaders, including the political commissar, Chief Zai and Zai Sheng, did not join the lessons. They felt reassured enough to leave it to Xiaonan. With Shi Qing around, Zai Sheng was assured that Shi Qing would send Xiaonan back to the dormitory. As a result, Xiaonan had the time to take Shi Qing to a place to take a look. Where are we going? Follow me and you will know. Xiaonan led Shi Qing to take a look at what the soldiers were doing after their English lessons. Last night, Xiaonan taught them how to use English to form the platoons. However, only 30 to 40 soldiers who came to her lessons learned about it, and the rest did not know anything. As a result, those who were interested to learn would have to ask their comrades to share with them. The army had the fine tradition of unity and camaraderie, so these soldiers gave each other lessons privately. Shi Qing was dumbfounded when she heard the shouts of the soldiers from afar. Wang 1, 2 1, Wang 1. They were lining up and forming the platoons. Throughout the whole process, most of the commands were given in English. Although there is a slight problem with the pronunciation and the word order is somehow awkward, I can understand what they are saying. It was amazing. That's more than enough. The army's intention is to give them a chance to learn and improve. They don't want us to teach them as if they were elementary school students, give them any written test, or insist that they have to attain a certain result to pass, be it passable or excellent. They do not need to reach the standard of English that is required of us. Therefore, our learning method is not suitable for them. Shi Qing, think about it. What I taught today might be without any structure, but when it's time for practice, can you understand what your neighbors are saying? Qiao Nan did not ask too much of the soldiers. She felt that it was good enough for them to be able to make simple conversations in English. Well, I should not have preconceived notions. Shi Qing patted her forehead. She was indeed muddle-headed. The intention of the army was to organize an activity such that the soldiers could be exposed to new knowledge and have more interaction with the world outside. If Qiao Nan really taught these soldiers using the method that she had in mind, then that would be acting without sound reason. That's normal. After all, you are not the first person to ask me this question. Qiao Nan massaged her neck. It's getting late. Let's go back to the dormitory. I want to bathe and sleep. By the way, aren't you going to check on your dad and say good night before you go to sleep? Shi Qing had been with her since this afternoon and had not been to see Officer Shi. No need, Shi Qing said dejectedly. Are you upset again? I thought you have sorted out your thoughts this afternoon. Are you in a bad mood under the influence of the moon? Qiao Nan was once again surprised. Shi Qing laughed dryly. All right, stop mocking me. Aren't you tired of goading me into action? I decided not to check on my dad lest he feels awkward. I also don't wish to be upset. Therefore, I choose not to go. Upset and awkward? What do you mean? My grandpa. Shi Qing walked toward the dormitory. My grandpa might be firm in speech and forced my dad to deal with Chiuchenxi's issue, and he agreed when my dad said he had no other choice but to resign. However, he must have thought that my dad was bluffing. That's why he told my dad that if he couldn't solve Chiuchenxi's problem, he should simply resign. He even said that though my dad is in the army, he refused to help his niece. He might as well quit. But in fact, if my dad really resigns, my grandpa will be the first person to object. Grandpa had 2 children, her father and her auntie. Her auntie was born with a blissful life whereas her father had to be responsible for the Shi family. If her father left the army, the Shi family would lose their influence and power. Her grandpa would not want that to happen. But since her father had already submitted the report, her grandpa must have received word of it and had phoned her father to lecture him. I see. Qiao Nan snorted. At home, her mother was muddle-headed. At the Shi family, it was the old master who was muddle-headed. Shi Qing kicked the stones. Qiao Nan, why do you think my grandpa behaved in such a manner? Why did he help his daughter and maternal granddaughter to such an extent? Why did he ask my dad to quit in a peak of anger? He might have been in a peak of anger and believed that dad would never do that, but he had no idea that my dad was serious. She had thought that China was a patriarchal society. Why was it the other way round in the Shi family? Qiao Nan was silent. I heard that back then, your auntie, which is Chiuchenxi's mom, almost ended up getting married to Uncle Zai. Did your auntie throw a tantrum when they did not get married? Of course. She almost committed suicide and insisted that my grandpa and dad went to the Zai family to get Uncle Zai and drive Auntie Miao away. I don't understand. Why did she have the audacity to say this? When she was creating a ruckus, Uncle Zai and Auntie Miao had already sent out the wedding invitations, and the marriage report and certificate were ready. They were going to have the wedding dinner in a month's time. In other words, at that time, Uncle Zai and Auntie Miao was already a legal couple recognized by both the army and the country. If her auntie insisted on coming between them, she would be the third party. But I'm sure your family didn't agree to it, did they? Back when she heard about this, she had thought that Chi Minlan was the willful one, and the rest of the people in the Shi family, like Old Master Shi and Officer Shi, were the reasonable and cultured ones. But after listening to what Shi Qing said today, Old Master Shi did not seem to be as reasonable as what she had imagined. They didn't agree to it. Actually, I am still puzzled over this. My grandpa dotes on my auntie. Why did he not help my auntie to get what she wanted? Now that I think of it, I find it incredible. Grandpa's behavior back then and right now seemed to be totally different. Anyway, I don't know much about this matter. Alright, let's not talk about them. They are such a bother. It seemed like the Shi family and the Zai family already had a complicated relationship from 20 years ago. Well, let's go back to take a bath and sleep. Since Shi Qing did not wish to say further, Qiao Nan did not probe. She knew that she could not get any answers from Shi Qing. If she wanted to know the answer, she had to check with Zai Sheng. Aren't you going to do your homework? It was rare that Qiao Nan, who was crazy about learning, knew to take things easy. There might be a typhoon tomorrow. Qiao Nan glanced at Shi Qing. I won't mistreat myself. I have already finished those that must be done today. Ha ha ha, is that so? You definitely won't mistreat yourself. Staring at the look of disdain in Qiao Nan's eyes, Shi Qing found it amusing and was not the least bit angry. In fact, she broke out in laughter. Qiao Nan pulled a long face. Was she not afraid at all? Qiu Chenexai, I heard that she is Officer Shi's daughter. Isn't she your cousin? Why did she hang out with the high school student and give you the cold shoulder? Officer Shi was supposed to be Qiu Chenexai's pillar of support in the army. Footnotes. Chapter 536, A Successful Counterattack. Could it be that the sisters fell out with each other, so Officer Shi's daughter was in the company of the high school student? Do you hear them? They seem to be in a good mood. Qiu Chenexai sneered. Let them be. My cousin has been spoiled by my uncle from a young age. She has a nasty temper and is difficult to deal with. She likes to favor an outsider instead of someone on her own side. It's been so many years. I have gotten used to it. She is my uncle's daughter, so he is able to tolerate her. I don't care if she creates trouble, but sooner or later, I'm afraid my uncle will have enough of her. Her uncle resigning and leaving the army was such a serious matter. As his daughter, Shi Qing could have tried to stop him and dissuade him from resigning, but she did nothing. It was as if he was not her father. She had no conscience. When her uncle calmed down and regretted his decision, Shi Qing would be the first to suffer. By then, she was sure that Shi Qing would no longer be in such a good mood. There would be a day where Shi Qing would be in tears. Crap, why is there such a person in this world? Officer Shi is so unlucky. She has such a good father, yet she does not cherish him. What a pity. Why wasn't she blessed with such a good father? If it were her, she would definitely maintain a good relationship with Officer Shi and would not help outsiders to bully her family. Qianyanyan had an idea and she trailed after Qiu Chenexai. I heard that the big shots like to have got children. Do you think there's a possibility that I can be family with you? For instance, I can address Officer Shi as my dad. If so, she would rise up through the ranks and would no longer be an average female military performer from the countryside who was without any power. Qiu Chenexai, you often said that the Shi family values and cares about you. If you make the request, I am sure they will agree. Look, we are such good friends. If we are one family, I will definitely take good care of you. Qiu Chenexai, what do you say? Qianyanyan felt that her idea was feasible. She could not wait for Qiu Chenexai to look for Shi Peng right away and tell him about her suggestion. What do I say? Qiu Chenexai laughed contemptuously. Nothing great about it? It was impossible. Why not? This idea was quite good. She had always taken great care of Qiu Chenexai. If she and Qiu Chenexai became one family, she would be Qiu Chenexai's elder sister. She would certainly take good care of Qiu Chenexai. If it was so simple and easy, my uncle would probably have lots of goddaughters by now. You're not my only friend. During my school years, I had lots of good friends. No matter what, it would never be Jianyanyan's turn. All right, say no more. I feel vexed. I have no idea what to do for tomorrow's lesson. Since Chiu Chenxi was in a bad mood, Jianyanyan's wishful thinking had to come to a stop. What's wrong? Today's lesson was pretty good. Have you not seen the people in the class? What's there to see? Chiu Chenxi was frustrated. Initially, she had thought that there was no way that Jiaonan could get the notebook back since it was with her. She did not intend to spend too much effort in the army. After getting hold of Jiaonan's lesson plans, she did not remember much despite having flipped through the whole book. Previously, she was able to look at the lesson plans and conduct the lesson thereafter since she could still remember the details. However, she had burned the notebook last night. Without the lesson plans, Chiu Chenxi had to rely entirely on herself and prepare for the lesson by herself. She could feel a headache coming up. She did not know how to prepare for a lesson. When teachers conducted lessons, at the very least, they had textbooks as a guide. However, the problem was that she did not have any teaching materials. She had to come up with all the teaching materials by herself. It was too difficult. Although she was not interested in the activities that the army organized, the army could not arrange for activity and leave everything else for others to do. It was tantamount to playing tricks on others. Jianyanyan kept her mouth shut. She finally understood why Chiu Chenxi was so annoyed. Did you come up with the lesson plans for today's class? Half of it? She took down the lesson plans from Jiaonan's notebook and used it for today's lessons. But she could not remember the teaching method. No wonder. What do you mean? And nothing. At first, she had thought that the high school student was not that brilliant after all. Her first 2 lessons were great, but her third lesson was too dull and boring. But it turned out that today's lesson was planned by Chiu Chenxi. In that case, the high school student was indeed better than Chiu Chenxi, a college graduate. Oh, man. By the way, Chiu Chenxi, I have forgotten to tell you. I have a dance rehearsal tomorrow night, so I won't be able to join your class tomorrow. You must not be angry at me. I'm not. Jianyanyan was getting on her nerves. It was good that she had something on. Anyway, she did not need any teaching assistant. Jianyanyan would get excited over the smallest thing. She was a disgrace to her. Well, then I will go back first. Since Chiu Chenxi said that she was not angry, Jianyanyan ran off to her room. Looking at how Jianyanyan sprinted away, Chiu Chenxi felt a mixture of helplessness and anger. Is she sick? An hour ago, she was following me around. Now, she ran away as if she has seen a ghost. She must be abnormal. Chiu Chenxi, who berated Jianyanyan for her weird behavior, finally understood why she behaved in that manner when it was time for her 4th lesson on the next day evening. Chiu Chenxi understood what happened, but Jiaonan and Shiqing were shocked. Wow, what happened? The people came in one after another into their classroom. Shiqing blinked and rubbed her eyes. She suspected that she had seen wrongly. The number of people today is more than twice yesterday's number of students. The classroom is almost full. Jiaonan, what have you done? Did you set any beauty traps? Shiqing turned and noticed that Jiaonan wore baggy clothes and pants. Her delicate curves were covered by her clothing. Her attire was not revealing at all. Shiqing could not accuse Jiaonan of dressing indecently and using unfair methods to get the soldiers to attend her class. That is Chiu Chenxi's style, not mine. Jiaonan was puzzled as well. Has hell frozen over? It can't be that these people are not interested in looking at beautiful women. How could they possibly come to her class when Chiu Chenxi was mature and more alluring, just like a ripe apple? Chapter 537, Make up the numbers for Chiu Chenxi. Why would all of them go to her class when she was a sour plum that had yet to grow and develop fully? Could it be real? Did the political commissar talk to these people and lectured them? She could understand that there were slightly more students in her class yesterday, but the number of people in her class today was almost the same as that on the first day. It was unbelievable. If the political commissar did not lecture the soldiers, it must be that Chiuchinexai was disfigured. Perhaps she had turned from a fresh apple to a dry and wrinkled apple. Lecture? Had a talk? What do you mean? Shiqing blinked, confused. Don't you know the reason why Chiuchinexai kept bothering your dad? You are clueless. She heard that it was due to various reasons. One of them was about how the political commissar had decided that Chiuchinexai could no longer stay in the army. Undoubtedly, Chiuchinexai went to ask Officer Shi for help yesterday, but he refused. Hence, she sought help from her grandparents. The more you care about something, the more mess you might create. I was occupied with my dad yesterday and didn't have time to care about Chiuchinexai. What is the situation? Tell me about it. Could it be that Chiuchinexai got into some trouble? I heard that Chiuchinexai could no longer stay in the army. As for the reasons, I really don't know. It's already 8 o'clock. I will tell you later. All the students had arrived. Xiaonan had to start today's class. Yesterday, Shiqing did not ask Xiaonan anything about Chiuchinexai, so Xiaonan thought that Shiqing had known about it. Xiaonan focused her attention on the lesson and put the matter aside for now. Xiaonan was very focused on the lessons, and the students paid full attention during the class as well. All of them were absorbed in the lessons. Xiaonan was amazed by their concentration and cooperation. Nobody was shy to ask questions or participate in the activities. Nobody was lured to the other class by the beautiful sight they saw. Given the cooperation and attentiveness of the students, Xiaonan might be awarded an outstanding teaching award if it was a formal lesson. It was already 8 o'clock at night and the soldiers were tired from a day of training. However, they were attentive and enthusiastic throughout the 1-hour-long lesson. Without anyone realizing, more than an hour had passed. All right, I will stop here for the day. Before I end the class, I have to praise everyone for your learning attitude. If all of you are to go to school, with such a positive learning attitude, all of you will be top students. At first, she had thought that she would try her best to teach, but it would be up to the soldiers to take in whatever that was suitable for them. Seeing today's situation, she had been too pessimistic. She should not be too strict on herself. She should take it easy while making sure that the soldiers benefited from the lessons. The soldiers were shy when they received compliments from teacher Xiao Jiao. That is too flattering. It's teacher Xiao Jiao who taught well. Yes, teacher Xiao Jiao, you are amazing. He, some simply smiled. Thank you for your recognition. I may be able to teach well, but all of you have to be willing to learn as well. This is my first teaching experience. From this, I realized that it's quite fun to be a teacher as long as there are good students. All right, let's end the class. Even though they received compliments from Xiaonan, some of the soldiers were happy while some were not. The hall turned empty in no time. Shiqing went forward and patted Xiaonan on the shoulder. Xiaonan, one really can't tell that you can teach so well with those unorthodox teaching methods of yours. The learning atmosphere was so good that you could be awarded an outstanding teaching award. You're brilliant. From a young age, among all the teachers she had come into contact with, there were very few teachers who could create such a good learning atmosphere like what Xiaonan did just now. For students, there were basically 3 scenarios when they went to class. The first scenario was that the students did not like going to class. Usually, students with bad grades would have such an attitude. They did not pay attention in class and were sick of the lessons. The second scenario was that the students were very serious in the class but the results could fluctuate. The third scenario was that the students felt happy being in the class. The teacher was happy to teach the students and the students found joy in learning. It was self-evident which teaching scenario was best. What's wrong? Do you want to be a teacher in the future? If you are a teacher, it will be a blessing to all students. Everyone wants to be taught by such a teacher. Let's have an agreement. When I get married and have children, I will send my children to your class. Even if you are famous by then, you must give me this privilege. Everyone would be dying to send their children to good teachers. It was the same logic as sending one's children to good schools. All right, stop mocking me. I won't be a teacher. Didn't you say that my teaching methods are unorthodox? I will not hamper your child's progress. Qiaonan would not fall for Shiqing's trap. It's strange. I have already taught 4 classes, but for today's lesson, the level of cooperation and atmosphere is the best out of all. This is the first time I have such an enthusiastic class. I am surprised as well. Everyone came to my class, but what about Qiu Jinxi's class? Are you sure you're not going to be a teacher? It was a pity. Her future children were not blessed enough to be taught by Qiaonan. No. Well, I won't force you. Qiu Jinxi. God knows, I can't be bothered with her. Don't ask me either. I don't know anything. I am here to make up the numbers. I have no idea what happened at Qiu Jinxi's class. She could not be bothered with Qiu Jinxi. She would only get on her nerves. Right, it is useless to ask you. That's right. If you are interested, I can find out for you. Everyone had come to Qiaonan's class. Qiu Jinxi needed people to make up the numbers. How many students went to her class today? Qiaonan raised an eyebrow. Sure, you can go and ask around. I will go back to the dormitory first. She knew that Shiqing was not going to ask around. In fact, she wanted to make fun of Qiu Jinxi and watch a good show. All right. After what happened to Shi Peng, Shiqing could not wait for Qiu Jinxi to make a fool of herself. As long as it concerned Qiu Jinxi, she would not miss the fun. Perhaps she should consider going to Qiu Jinxi's class tomorrow to make up the numbers. After all, they were relatives. Now that Qiu Jinxi was in such an embarrassing situation, as her sister, she should lend her a helping hand. Shiqing went to check out Qiu Jinxi's class while Qiaonan went back to her dormitory. She had just left the hall when she bumped into someone. How long have you been waiting? A few minutes. Zai Sheng came forward and took the teaching materials that Qiaonan carried with her. Did anyone see you? It doesn't matter if I am seen by others. This is the army camp. Isn't it normal? Zai Sheng smiled. Nan was being too cautious. Given his position, he would not arouse any doubts no matter where he was in the army camp. I am the regiment commander. Naturally, it is all right for me to check out the activities organized in the army camp. Chapter 538, What if did not exist? All right, she had a guilty conscience. It's so rare for you to take the initiative to ask me out. Zai Sheng focused his deep gaze on Qiaonan. In the past, when Qiaonan was in Pingcheng and he was in the army, Zai Sheng could only talk on the phone with her once or twice a week. However, now that both of them were in the army camp, they could not see each other for various reasons. Zai Sheng realized that not being able to see each other even though they were close by was the most torturous thing to him. They were so close, yet worlds apart. Qiaonan was in a mixture of bewilderment and amusement. They were in the same army camp, but why did it seem like Brother Zai missed her much more than before? Brother Zai, keep a check on your gaze. Your eyes are brighter than the stars in the sky. The people in the army are very sharp. The stars may be bright, but they are not as bright as the moon. Qiaonan blushed. Brother Zai, I ask you out today as I have something to ask you. I knew it. Qiaonan almost doubted that there was something wrong with her hearing. From Brother Zai's tone, he seemed to bear a grudge against her. He sounded as if she was heartless and would only ask him out when she needed a favor from him. Brother Zai, can we have a talk nicely? One has to be in love to know the torture of pining for your loved ones. Hey, Xiaonan had a headache and had goosebumps all over her body. At the same time, it was embarrassing to be happy when hearing those words. Her actual age was not 18 years old. How could she fall for such honeyed words? Brother Zai, is it because you take me as a teacher that you recited that line to me? What she really wanted to ask was whether Brother Zai read a lot of romance novels or dating guidebooks recently. No wonder it was said that hooligans who knew how to fight were not to be feared, but one must be fearful of cultured hooligans. But the cultured military hooligan who stood in front of her was the most terrifying of all. Seeing that Xiaonan was as uneasy as a rabbit, looking around to hide in a rabbit hole, Zai Sheng returned to normal. What is it? It's regarding the Shi family. Xiaonan quickly breathed a sigh of relief when Zai Sheng was back to normal. She then told Zai Sheng what Shi Qing told her. Brother Zai, why do I feel that the Shi family is strange? According to Shi Qing, old Master Shi is definitely not the kind of person who can see reasons. Back then, when Chief Zai married Auntie Miao, why did old Master Shi not do something to get Chief Zai back? You can tell. Zai Sheng pinched Xiaonan's soft and smooth face but stopped himself before Xiaonan flared up. When Dad married Mom, Dad and Officer Shi were fighting for a position. Chief Zai landed the position in the end. Yes. Oh, then I understand. If Officer Shi landed that position back then, today, Shi Qing would be the daughter of the Chief of the Army. Since the son competed with the son-in-law for a position, old Master Shi had to support his son. If the winner was Officer Shi, he would be Chief Shi today. As the defeated opponent, old Master Shi had no need to insist that his daughter married Chief Zai, lest other people misunderstood that nobody wanted his daughter and he had to marry her to Chief Zai and be looked down upon by the Zai family. Back then, old Master Zai was especially insistent and refused to accept Qi Minlin as his daughter-in-law, and Chief Zai did not make his stand clear. As for now, the Zai family landed the position of the Chief of the Army, so Officer Shi would not have the chance to be the Chief of the Army in this life. Therefore, old Master Shi had set his sights on his maternal granddaughter, Qiu Jinexai, wanting to set her up with Brother Zai. Old Master Shi was sure that Brother Zai would take over the position of the Chief of the Army and become the second Chief of the Army from the Zai family. Thinking of the news that she heard in her previous life, she had to admit that the Shi family indeed had the foresight. Now, you should know why Grandpa despises people from the Shi family. Zai Sheng had a solemn look on his face. Given his position and the environment he was in, he was not the least surprised that people would come up with such schemes. These schemes alone were manageable. If it was between political opponents, they would resort to framing each other. Xiaonan lowered her head, feeling upset. In the previous life, the distance between Brother Zai and her was too far apart. Even though he used to live in the same quad as her, she had no impression of him and had no contact with him. She only knew that Brother Zai became the Chief of the Army, but she did not know what happened to him. No matter what, she did not remember that the famous Chief of the Army, Zai Sheng, stayed single like her. She did not marry even when she was over 40 years old. Hence, if Brother Zai was married, did he marry Qiu Jinexai? What's wrong? Are you unhappy? Zai Sheng looked at Xiaonan, feeling clueless. Xiaonan sounded jealous. Both Sister Zai Hua and you said that Auntie Miao has changed under my influence and no longer sees Qiu Jinexai as her potential daughter-in-law. In other words, without me, Auntie Miao would never figure it out. Despite knowing that the Shi family is plotting against you, would you still marry Qiu Jinexai? What if does not exist, Zai Sheng said in a serious tone. There's no such thing as what if. I don't think it is necessary to ask. There was Nan, so the what if did not exist. Zai Sheng felt particularly uncomfortable at the thought of the what if. Regardless of whether he married Qiu Chenexai or Li Chenexai, it was definitely not because of love if he did not meet Nan Nan. To Zai Sheng, who had met Jiao Nan, a marriage without love was very devastating. Perhaps, if he had never met Nan Nan, marriage would be a routine, something that he must do in his life. But since he had met Nan Nan, this was absolutely unacceptable. Zai Shen knitted his eyebrows and there was a melancholy look about him. Jiao Nan sighed and smiled, taking the initiative to lean close to him. Brother Zai, don't mind my words. Let's forget it. Girls just like to let their imagination runs wild. I am just jealous. You are right. There's no what if. Fortunately, I met you and you met me. She had always thought that she was mature, unlike an 18-year-old girl. Why would she be jealous over this? She was a fool. You're not to mention what if in the future. I don't like it. He would not accept the world without Nan Nan. I swear I won't mention it again. Gone was the previous life. She had to cherish her present life. Nan Nan, I am glad that you care about me and are jealous. Some jealousy will indeed spice up the relationship, but don't ever bring up this topic again. Chapter 539, Feeling Jealous. Zai Shen repeated it once again. Zai Shen was always brisk and straight to the point. He was never one who repeated himself. But he did today. One could tell that he hated the what if that Jiao Nan mentioned. This will be the one and only time. Jiao Nan smiled embarrassedly. It was rare for her to be jealous, but it ended up awkwardly. You don't have to worry too much about the Shi family. Officer Shi is very smart. He won't be influenced by his family. Seeing that Jiao Nan had learned her lesson, Zai Shen did not harp on it and changed the topic. In this field, it is indeed much more complicated than you think. The Shi family is a case of bad debt, and only they themselves can resolve it. Well, I understand. Officer Shi seemed to have a mind of his own. She just wanted to understand the situation, lest she was muddle-headed and made mistakes unwittingly. Go back to have an early rest. Don't tire yourself out. The walk from the hall to the female soldiers' dormitory was not a short distance. However, for people who were in love, it was too short a distance. Jiao Nan nodded. Brother Zai, I will go back to rest. You should have an early rest as well. You have much more difficult tasks than me. All right, go in. Zai Shen watched Jiao Nan enter the dormitory before leaving. He turned around and saw Shi Qing. You're back. Shi Qing looked awkward and hurt. She seemed to be staring at Brother Zai for a long time. Shi Qing took a deep breath and smiled reluctantly. Yes, I just came back. Did you send Jiao Nan back? Shi Qing regretted it as soon as she asked the question. She should not have said something that would hurt herself further. Yes. Zai Shen gave a faint reply before walking off as per normal. Shi Qing was heartbroken. Zai Shen walked off coldly as if she was just an average soldier in the army. As expected, it was not easy to let go. What happened just now was too hurtful. It was a blow to her pride. Apart from being the daughter of her father, in Brother Zai's eyes, she was probably just like any other soldier in the army. There was no difference between them. Perhaps, Brother Zai had never treated her as a woman. This was too painful and heart-wrenching for Shi Qing. What's wrong? Shi Qing came back looking listless. Jiao Nan, who came out from the bath, was wiping her hair. She halted. You failed to check out Qiu Chenexai's class. It can't be, though. There was only that number of people in the army. Given that many people turned up for her class today, Qiu Chenexai must not have many students in her class. Why did Shi Qing look so depressed? Jiao Nan, I regret it. What happened? I shouldn't live in the same dormitory as you. It's too hard a blow for me. If she did not stay in the same dormitory as Jiao Nan, she would not have witnessed Brother Zai sending Jiaonan back. He was so gentle and tender toward Jiaonan. She was right about Brother Zai. He was a good man indeed. Unfortunately, this good man did not belong to her. Jiaonan was stunned. You saw it? How much of it did you see? Not much, but it is enough to make me uncomfortable. If I saw everything, I am afraid my eyes would be blinded. Today, I finally understood what it means when they say a person who is cold and ruthless can be gentle at times. She almost could not recognize that it was Brother Zai. He used to be cold and harsh, but he was so gentle and considerate toward Jiaonan. You're good with your words. Jiaonan continued to wipe her hair. If this was the case, you should have been back earlier. Why is it that you were only back when I have finished my shower? I ran a few laps to vent my frustration and calm myself down. If I returned to the dormitory directly, I might give you a round of beating. Her Prince Charming since a young age had been taken away by her classmate. She was afraid that she would not be able to resist using violence against Jiaonan in order to vent her anger. Have you calmed down? If not, do you want to run a few more laps? Jiaonan made the suggestion as she sensed danger. I will calm down as long as you're out of my sight. Shi Qing heaved a sigh. Should I put a sack over your head? I will make 3 holes for your eyes and nose. In that case, I will feel better and you do not need to suffer any punches from me. Shi Qing felt that it was a good idea. Scram. Shouldn't you just change to another dormitory? I am not a prisoner under the death sentence who is to be executed by shooting. Jiaonan refused to be fooled. All right, you are sweaty and smelly. Take a bath. It's about time to turn off the lights. Don't tell me you are going to sleep without bathing tonight. I will bathe now. Shi Qing took her clothes with her back facing Jiaonan, hiding her face from Jiaonan. She left for the bathroom at the fastest speed. Shi Qing turned on the tap to the maximum. Sounds of falling water could be heard in the bathroom. When Shi Qing was wet from head to toes, she started to bathe in silence. Today, the water from the shoriad that flowed down her face to her mouth was salty and bitter. It was almost time to switch off the lights when Shi Qing came back from her shower. She was the last to return to the dormitory. Shi Qing straightened her neck, and her entire face was covered with a towel. Shi Qing plopped down on the bed, getting ready to sleep. The female counselor turned off the lights and the dormitory became pitch dark. After a long while, Jiaonan sighed at the thought of Shi Qing's reddened eyes when she came back. As a woman, no matter how tough she was, she could not be chic when it came to relationships. Shi Qing stiffened at the sound of Jiaonan's sighs. She pursed her lips and continued to lie down stiffly on the bed until she fell asleep. The next morning, Shi Qing's bed was already empty when Jiaonan woke up. The female counselor came in to change her clothes. Comrade Xiaojiao, do you know what's wrong with Shi Qing? She woke up earlier than me. When I got up, someone told me that Shi Qing had run for 3 laps. Like Officer Shi Qing has the habit of doing morning exercise. I see. It's a good habit. She is not dainty like Qiu Jinxi. After all, she is the daughter of Officer Shi. The female counselor was not close with Shi Qing. When she heard that Shi Qing would exercise in the morning, she could not help but compliment her. Comrade Xiaojiao, I am going to bring some porridge back. Should I get some for you? How about some for Shi Qing as well? No, Jiaonan was going to say that there was no need for that. From today onward, Shi Qing would not stay in this dormitory. She would stay with Officer Shi. But in the end, Jiaonan changed her mind. How about you ask Shi Qing if you see her later? In case she decides to finish her porridge before coming back. Chapter 540, Made a Bet Using Underpants. You're right. I will ask Shi Qing. The female counselor did not want to waste the food, so she decided to ask Shi Qing if she saw her. After the female counselor left, Xiaonan took out her summer break homework and stared at it for 15 minutes. Since her mind was not on her homework, Xiaonan did not force herself to do it. She simply put down the pen and leaned on the chair, letting her thoughts wander. Apart from the 5 young ladies in the same dormitory, Xiqing was the first and only female friend that Xiaonan had. Unexpectedly, their friendship could not last. They had not been friends for long, but they already faced challenges. Why are you in a daze early in the morning? That's such a waste of time. Today, Qiujianxi, and you still have classes. Even though you have more students than Qiujianxi, you must not forget that Qiujianxi has some students as well. Your target is to get all the students over to your class so that Qiujianxi will be left with no one. Xiqing, who just returned to the dormitory, saw the scene and covered Xiaonan's face with her towel that was used to wipe off her perspiration. Xiaonan turned green from the smelly towel. I haven't had my breakfast yet. Don't go overboard. You didn't go back to your dad's place. Why should I go back to my dad's place? Xiqing pretended not to understand. Stop pretending. Xiaonan threw the towel back to Xiqing. You should think about it. What you witnessed yesterday may happen again. Don't be too hard on yourself. If Xiqing stayed behind, it would be asking for trouble for herself. Forget it. Sooner or later, I will need to get used to it. It's better to get used to it as fast as possible. In fact, it's quite good this way. Brother's eye always gave me the cold shoulder. I was too silly to have harbored such a thought for years. It was indeed painful to see the two of you together. It was as if my bones were being crushed. However, the more painful it is, the faster I will wake up from the dream. I don't want to be muddle-headed any longer, or to believe in the impossible. I'd rather be sober and in pain than to deceive myself and believe in the impossible. She refused to deceive herself. She preferred to make things clear as she disliked gray areas. If she must die, she wanted to make it snappy. Why? Did you think that I would run away? Under normal circumstances, ordinary people would usually do that. As you have said, that's what ordinary people will do. Am I ordinary? I won't admit to being weak. Xiqing straightened her neck. She had completely forgotten that when she ran early in the morning, she had considered for a long time whether to move out of the dormitory or leave the army altogether. Xiqing had already made up her mind, but when she entered the dormitory and saw Xiaonan, she changed her mind. All right, it's good that you are not weak. By the way, I didn't have the chance to ask you about Qiujianxi's class yesterday. Why did most of the students come to my class without any apparent reason? Did Qiujianxi make a major mistake? Even if she made any mistakes, the soldiers would not take issue with her on account that she was a great beauty. Don't think too highly of Qiujianxi. I have found out what is going on. For the past few classes, she was able to get through the classes as she had your lesson plan with her, right? Xiqing snorted. It was no wonder that Qiujianxi asked her father to cover up her mistakes. She was too shameless. She never expected that a graduate from a famous university would actually steal other people's lesson plans so as to be able to conduct a lesson. Initially, she had been thinking of going to the university that Qiujianxi graduated from. Now, she was considering removing it from her list of potential universities that she planned to go to. I suppose that after she stole your lesson plans, she would only look at it right before she conducted her lessons. Now that the army is holding her accountable for it and forbidding her from staying in the army, Qiujianxi must be scared out of her wits. I am sure she burned your lesson plans. As a result, she has to come up with the lesson plans by herself, ones that reflect her actual standard. Those who can tell the differences will not go to her class anymore. Xiaonan touched her chin. Your analysis does make sense. Makes sense. I came to this conclusion based on Qiujianxi's character. It is definitely not far off. After all, we are relatives. I am sure that I'm right. Shi Qing was very confident of herself. Qiao Nan raised an eyebrow. If she has no idea how to conduct a lesson, why did she join in the fun? Isn't that the same as exposing her weakness and going against her original intentions? Wrong. This is called trying to gain an advantage only to end up worse off, Shi Qing said bluntly. She wanted to have a good image in front of Chief Zai and Brother Zai and impress them. She knew her own abilities and that's why she set her sights on you. She thought that you wouldn't dare to speak up and would concede defeat instead. That's the reason why she was fearless. Both of you are indeed sisters. You really understand her. Hey, don't mention that we are relatives. I don't want to be embarrassed by her. Even if I am not her relative, given her character, I can easily guess what happened. If she did not have this ability, she would not be able to survive in the army. Qiao Nan, will all of the students go to your class tonight and Qiu Jinxai will conduct lesson for nobody but herself? If this was the case, Qiu Jinxai would sulk even more. I decided to make up numbers for Qiu Jinxai tonight. Qiao Nan hit Shi Qing's forehead. You think too much. Qiu Jinxai is not that miserable. Last night, you wanted to watch a good show but missed it. Let me give you a piece of advice today. Don't go. Not only will she not be embarrassed, but you will be the one angered instead. I don't believe you. There was no way that Qiu Jinxai's class would be better than Qiao Nan's class. The standard was too far apart. How could someone be so stupid to skip Qiao Nan's class and choose to waste their time and life on Qiu Jinxai instead? The number of people may change, but as long as Qiu Jinxai still conducts the class, she will definitely have no less than 20 students in her class. Qiao Nan gestured too with her hand. Don't say I didn't warn you in advance. You must not blame me if you come back feeling frustrated. She was innocent. Definitely no less than 20? Are you kidding? I feel that Qiu Jinxai will have fewer than 20 students today. In a few days, she will not have any student at all. After what Qiao Nan said, Shi Qing changed her statement. Qiu Jinxai would still have students today, but within 5 days, Qiu Jinxai would definitely end up with an empty classroom. Okay, I hope that you are right. Qiao Nan did not argue. After all, this was not a debate. Seeing that Qiao Nan did not believe her, Shi Qing inched her face closer to her. Since you don't believe me, do you dare to make a bet with me? Let's not bet. You can't afford it? I'm afraid that you will have to give me your underpants by then. Qiao Nan smiled. She was not willing to make a bet with Shi Qing.